Hey everyone, welcome back to our third interview of the day with Mike Georgie from the Nexus Group LLC. How you doing, man?
I'm excellent, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So you came today prepared to talk about 4 reminders, right, for people that I guess have LLCs and what they should be doing. So why don't you talk about the 4 reminders?
That's right. I'm actually going to go ahead and share a quick PowerPoint. And these are just 4 things that people normally don't do,
Mhm.
especially currently with, the climate and things that are going on. And in real estate, the potential, activity coming up, I'm sure it's going to be very exciting. And people are just maybe going to overlook these things as well. So
I look
let's go
forward
ahead
to
and
it.
talk about 4 different things that you want to make sure. Oh, can I go ahead and share my screen, Mike?
You should. Yeah. Do I need to do something? Yeah. You should be able to now, I think.
Perfect.
There you go. How about that? Technology worked.
Yes, sir, and quickly. That was a good job.
All right.
All right, so here we go. We're going to talk about 4 business items to not overlook. And we're going to jump right in. The first one, accounting. I know people hate it. I know they don't want to do it. I know a lot of the time it's the last thing in their mind. But accounting is important to keep up to date, especially at this point of the year. The reasons why, number one reason, is really cash flow.
Mm.
You always should know where you are financially,
Yeah.
what's coming in, what's going out. And really, let's be honest, you need to be about 30 days ahead at least. And so if you don't know what your bank account is going to be projected to look like in the next 30 days, that's something that you really should remedy. And the reason why is because you want to avoid any money pitfalls or shortages so that you don't have to scramble at the end of the month or at a certain time to move money from your personal account to the corporate account. And now you have all kinds of documentation you need to do, which we're going to talk about. But, so let's avoid money shortages. Let's avoid overdraft fees. A lot of real estate owners have multiple different entities or multiple different LLCs. And a lot of the time they pay for the actual mortgage through their personal account because there's not enough money in the business account. And so that's problematic. And if you're having it come out of the business account, you need to make sure there's enough money in there so you don't get any overdraft fees.
Mhm.
And so you definitely need to know when the business is also cash flow negative. That's going to be a telltale sign of the things that you need to plan for or look towards in the future
Mhm.
and things that you obviously need to rectify.
Yep. Cool.
Secondarily is the estimated taxes.
Mm.
We just had an estimated tax payment that was due July 15th. We're going to have one coming up in about a month and a half or so. And so if you don't have your accounting up to date, you don't know what your profit and loss is, you don't know what your estimated tax are, and if you don't pay your estimated taxes, well, then you're going to get penalties.
Mhm.
And that's less profit for you.
Yep.
So keep your accounting up to date.
I like it.
All right. The second portion is to track your personal funds that you put in and use for business reasons. So it normally starts out like this. The business needs help. You put money into the business or you purchase business items and paid for it with personal funds or personal credit.
Mhm.
Now, if you've done that, and that's going to be evident in the accounting portion we just talked about, if you've done that, then make sure you document the amount that you contributed. So if you did an additional contribution or you loaned money to the business and you put money directly into the company, make sure you document that amount through a resolution. And also in your roll call if you have an LLC or your stock ledger if you have a corporation.
Yeah, this is the one I see most entrepreneurs fail at, is tracking that personal funds contribution, not only for the legal reasons and that whole piercing the corporate veil stuff that can come back to bite you if there's an issue, but just really managing cash flow. Back to point one, right? If you're not tracking the accounting and number two, you can really think your business is healthier than it really is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so if you purchase items for the business with personal funds or with a credit card, what you want to do is make sure that you add it to your books as a liability that's owed to you personally. So that when you get money back from the company, you don't count it as income.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go ahead and make sure, like Mike was saying, that you're tracking those different liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, if you do something like that, you loan money to the company or you pay for something personally, you need to make sure you create a note or a line of credit document to evidence that you have this loan or this note on the company. and that the terms are actually, written out in stone. And so we want to make sure we do those three things. Now, like we've already kind of talked about, the benefits, not making a mistake or not mistaking loans as income to you.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to reimburse yourself without being considered income, so you can make sure that reimbursement trail and documentation is there. And then finally, being compliant. Mike said, the very end, that it's not really the compliance portion he worked, something we should look at and make sure is in place. So there we are.
Nice.
There we go. All right, number 3, document business decisions. Now, this is a little bit different, and here's a short list of things that people may have encountered very recently. If you applied for the payment protection program for your business, if you've hired a new professional, if you pushed payments back, if you've gotten rid of an office lease or made changes to a lease, if you've sold a property, or if the company's reimbursed you, or it's paid for expenses in your personal name, i.e., if you have a telephone that's in your name, the company reimburses you, etc. That's something you definitely want to document. And so we want to make sure we do those minutes and resolutions about transactions that aren't accounting and or making sure you're getting paid back funds. We want to make sure that if they're, significant business decisions, we document.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that goes back to making sure we're in compliance, making sure everything's in place. And regardless if the business is going good or bad, it prepares you for both. So we're going to be real quick here, Mike. There's some individuals that are listening to this, they're maybe thinking about closing their business, about selling their property,
Mm-hmm.
about, becoming liquid and doing the things that are necessary to do that. And so if you're thinking about possibly shutting down your business, these items are very important. I mean, paramount to making sure that if there's an issue, once you shut down your company, it doesn't come back to you personally.
I like it.
And good.
Yep.
And if you're in a good position, hey, you're going to be hopefully buying more properties, acquiring more assets, doing more business. There's more of a reason for people to sue you. And so let's just make sure that you're safeguarded either way.
Yeah, I agree. I like it.
Sure. All right. And this is a different type of documentation. This is the third one. We want to make sure that we document the expenses for the IRS. So if you're having meals, you're traveling, you may still travel. You have a home office, you're using mileage reimbursement, you have a medical reimbursement plan, things like that. We need to make sure you're documenting the big 5. Let's take meals, for example. Let's say you have a business meal with an individual or it's for your employees. You need to make sure that you document the date, the location, the amount, who attended, including, business titles and the business relationship, and then the purpose. And so if you don't have those 5 things and you get audited by the IRS, they're going to disallow those expenses and those deductions. And then they're going to assess penalties on what you didn't pay. And so let's just make sure that if you're utilizing those type of expenses and you're utilizing those types of assets or those means, let's make sure we document them. I'm going to talk specifically real quick about medical reimbursement. It's a sticky situation, and you need to make sure you have a medical reimbursement plan or an HSA or something like that that's been approved by a resolution in your entity. And then there's a few disqualifying items, and these are things we'll talk about when we have clients that call us to set a complimentary appointment. So, for example, if you have a S-election or a pass-through entity, the rules to be able to have medical reimbursement are different. They require that you have a less than 2% ownership, that you don't have access to a different source of healthcare, and that you have a documented plan. If you're C-elected, you can have more than the 2% ownership, but you have to have the document plan, and you still can't have access to a supplemental healthcare somewhere else, like your spouse or through a different type of work, etc. And so, it becomes a little bit different. In some cases, you're going to need that special documentation, that special information. And so those are the 4 things that we need to make sure that we're doing, even though, in these times it seems a little bit unnecessary. They are absolutely necessary. And if you are going to take your business to the next level, you have to master these things. So remember, do those things.
Yeah. And then one thing I want to just highlight there back to meals is, at least I hear there's talk around meals being expensed at 100% potentially going forward. I think today it's only 25%. So again, make sure you're tracking what you're doing for your business. Write down the big five, because you may get additional tax benefits that maybe weren't appropriate last year.
Exactly right. And so if you want to know more about your specific situation, give us a call or go to our website and book an appointment. We'd love to talk to you. And always remember to mention Mike Zuber. You get a special discount for our services, etc. And, with all the different items that we mentioned here, we actually have a program coming up, a little sneak peek here, that will do everything for you. It's an accounting software that does all your documentation and has AI, special AI we call Scarlet, that actually makes sure that all your big five documentation and mints resolutions are taken care of as well. So
very, very cool. Let me read this for folks, because some people will be listening on a podcast. So folks, if you want to reach out to the Next Group LLC via phone, it's 877-713-8001. And if you'd like to go quickly and just book an appointment, it's www.nexusgroupllc.us. Remember. And of course, remember to mention Mike Zuber, and they will take care of you, give a little discount, and we will celebrate the goodness of one rental at a time. Any closing thoughts, Mike?
No, I just want to thank you for me being back on the show. I had a short hiatus for personal reasons, but I'm glad to be back and talking to your followers about what they can do to better their business.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. I'm glad everything's working out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.